Good morning. This is the Raw Sports first podcast that we've ever done. Today I'm with Anthony and Bálint, and we're going to talk about the upcoming World Cup, which starts today. What do we think of it, chaps?
Jesus, it's a heavy question. I mean, got a lot of questions around the World Cup itself, but as in terms of the football, I think it's going to be an absolute mess, to be honest. Got a lot of players who aren't going to be used to playing in that heat. I mean, we've seen the training videos of England players already. I'll get onto that in a bit, looking just absolutely clattered in the desert. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, first game is Ecuador Qatar today.
That's right. Yeah.
There's already been match fixing allegations, 2 separate ones. So we'll have to sort of wait and see how that goes. If Qatar win by some ridiculous scoreline, we'll have to...
Yeah, it was touted, wasn't it, that they were going to win 1-0 with a goal in the second half. So if anybody wants to match 6 and bet in today, that would be the tip.
Yeah. I do know somebody who put a tenner on it as soon as that story came out, just in case I'm covering myself.
No. Yeah, it is a real shame. Me as a football fan, you guys are as well. I think it's probably the first World Cup in my life that, to be honest, I'm not excited for right now.
No, yeah, I'm the exact same.
Well, I'm not sat here going, wow, the TV adverts aren't going, McDonald's aren't giving their toys out, the TV companies aren't selling TVs to, the pubs aren't rammed, it's going to be cold. And also the games are on times that people can't watch them. Like England's first game is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Unless you want
I
to
will say for tomorrow, I can't watch the game.
I'll be in hospital and that ruins it.
Yeah. I mean, I will be in a pub for tomorrow's game. That's just sort of lucky lecture timing, being a Geordie sort of day drinking, it comes with the territory.
It does,
so,
yeah. Taking your shirts off as well when it's freezing cold.
Oh yes,
this is very much your territory.
I'll try not to sprint around there. I'll be a pub and Angel. Try not to sprint around Angel topless, in the freezing cold. When Harry Kane inevitably scores the 70th minute penalty that sees we win 1-0.
Speaking of dating, what do we think of the beer ban imposed yesterday, last minute?
That's a great question. Like Budweiser said, it's a bit awkward, isn't it? Yeah. On their Twitter account. To me, look, we all know, I think many people, even people who aren't football fans, know at this point that this tournament is just a complete mess, regardless of why they awarded it. FIFA were dodgy with their taking bribes and things like that. The fact that the World Cup is in the winter when it should be in the summer, the fact it's been played in stupid heat, and the fact, yes, it's in a country who rightly will want to impose their own rules and regulations upon the people, but it does take away what football is. I mean, drink is synonymous. That's why Budweiser is one of the World Cup's biggest sponsors, and most fans probably worldwide would have a tipple when the game is on. This World Cup you can't, plus the fact if you're in the fan village you're paying £12 for a beer. I mean, London prices are extortionate. That is double that. And it makes you question, are fans going to pay it because of the heat, or are they just going to stay in a hotel all day? Which, if they do, having been at Germany 2006, I know that when I was there, the fans were all over the parks. The fans from all around the world playing football together, playing games together, joking with each other. I don't think that in this World Cup. I see it as just a big charade. I mean, look at the fans that have turned up. Where's the England fans? Where's the Argentine fans? Where's the Bombonera, the Socceroos? Where are they at with their big stupid hats and things like that? You know what I mean? No, it's not there, and I don't know how many England fans are going to be actually there tomorrow.
That is true. I mean, you look at it's obviously sort of been allegations, air quotes, of them sort of the Qataris paying fan groups to sort of turn up and celebrate and stuff. And it does have a sort of just the whole thing feels so weird. Like saying in the winter, no alcohol. I mean, if Qatar would come out and said, look, we're a Muslim nation, alcohol's against our sort of religious beliefs, be like, fine, it is what it is. But they've come out and said, we're a Muslim nation, alcohol is against our beliefs, unless you pay £19,000 to get in the executive boxes, in which case, drink away, which is, I think that encapsulates the whole, as you say, charade's the perfect word around this World Cup. It's just like, it is what it is, unless it isn't.
Yeah.
So.
unless you've got money talks in this World Cup, which is kind of sad. But let's go back to the football. And as you know, we're football supporters. We'll try and take the good from what there actually is. So, what do we think? Let's start off with the first group, which is Qatar, Ecuador, day's game, and Netherlands and Senegal. What do you think?
I think the Dutch will probably walk it, to be honest. You know,
I would agree. I can't see anything too far from that.
The rest of the teams are all right. Senegal without Mane is a huge problem. Koulibaly's not fully fit. They've got a good manager. Cisse is a good manager, but the rest of that squad's dreadful. You know, I watched them against Egypt in the AFCON, and Egypt were also terrible. But you know, the Senegal are a team that when Mane isn't playing, they have nothing. Like there is no connection between defence and attack. They can defend well. It's about it. You know, when the Dutch are coming at you with all their attacking talent, you know, and then you've got to go forward against their amazing defence with De Ligt and Van Dijk, you know, and Dumfries. They're not going to be able to do it. And Ecuador have a talented team, but
they do.
You know, they're all kids basically. They're the best of them.
I mean, Qatar will have to do something extraordinary, apart from maybe doing some dodgy dealings to get through to the group, out of the group. To be honest, Ecuador's got one of the best defensive records when it came to the CONCACAF. I think it's CONCACAF, CONCABOL. CONCABOL, yeah, for the South America group. Which, considering you've got the likes of Neymar, Messi, and Suarez playing against you in that, and yet you come out with the best defence, shows that you are a force to be reckoned with there. And then you highlight the fact that Senegal's forward players, especially Sadio Mane, is not going to be there. It makes me question that's going to be probably the key game in the group, who goes through.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Ecuador can get a point out of the game today, if not a win, and then, you know, that game against Senegal will probably decide who comes out of it second for me.
Yeah, I'm confident that Ecuador will go through in second place.
Yeah.
I think, because they are so good defensively. They drew with Argentina in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
I think they can hold off Senegal and go through.
You agree?
Yeah, I think I still probably have Senegal going through because it's going to be really hard to beat. Like they're not going to do much damage to you, but you're going to struggle to do much damage to them, really. And I only see again Ecuador a good side, but like you say, defensively, kind of that's a team built off their defensive stability. I think most of the games in this group are going to be absolutely appalling, to be honest. So, look, Qatar weirdly are the most attacking side there in that group. You know,
they are, and let's not be so harsh on Qatar, even though we are harsh on their running of the tournament. They have won the AFC or Cup, which is the equivalent of Asian Euros, which is nothing to snort at. They've also played in a Group A of European qualifying as a kind of friendly thing.
Yep.
They did produce some good results there, drawing against the likes of the Republic of Ireland. They lost ever so slightly to Serbia and Portugal. So they're not going to be an easy side, and I think, you know, it also links in the fact that people don't really know what they're actually about yet.
Yeah.
And until they actually turn up and play, we could get completely, you know, go, wow, you know, they're a lot better than what we thought they were, and they might get through. But on paper, at the moment, we would probably say Netherlands and Ecuador or Senegal win. With like you say, Senegal, Ecuador going through. England's group. So England would have to play one of these teams. Where do we start with England's group, Bruno? We've got, to me, having watched the Nations League in the summer, and they lose 4-0 to your home nation Hungary, and 1-0 away, so 5-0 over 2 legs. It was like the returning of Mr. Puskas in the 50s. I couldn't believe what I was watching, but whether was it due to impassioned Hungarian performance or a lacklustre England performance, one thing was for sure was Hungary are a representative of the sides that England will face in this group, and if England do not turn up, then Bale can score a good goal. Pulisic for America can score a good goal, and Iran, they're a good side too. They got quite far in their Asia Cup as well, so they're nothing to be snorted at. And especially with the heat as well, and like you said at the beginning with the training, this could be a big banana skin kind of group and a repeat of 2010, which is I don't want, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, me too. I think England will top the group by more virtue of everybody else in that group being pretty bad rather than England being that good. I think America, I watched them against the Saudis a couple of months ago and they were shocking. I think Berthola, the American coach, is probably the worst manager there, maybe aside from Graham Arnold, the Australian manager. They're a talented squad, but they're very young and the manager's an idiot, so, it's like...
So, do you want to elaborate why you think he's not so good? Tactical.
Yeah, you watch the way America play, and they have this the core American group of young attackers, Aronson and Pulisic and Weah, who doesn't really get that much game time, but they got Gio Reyna and things. You'd look at that team and the defence isn't that great. They got Cameron Carter-Vickers, a couple of MLS players. DeAndre Yedlin still starts them, who's absolutely shocking. He was terrible 3 years ago when he was playing for us, and he's been terrible in Miami, and he's terrible for the national team. I don't know why that man still plays football, but so you'd think, well, if you're the manager, you're looking at that team, you'd think, well, you know what, we can make a good go of teams. They've got Tyler Adams in midfield, and they've got Weston McKennie and stuff. It's a real good crop of young core talent. But they just don't. They just look completely impotent when they play anybody.
Yeah.
They just don't look like a team who's ever trained together.
But you say this now. England have been renowned for playing a lesser nation and making them look like world beaters.
This is true. Yeah.
And so you can say all the negativity now, but watch how in the coming week on Friday America get a point from the man who you've slated here right now. You got any thoughts on?
I too think that the USA is probably a bit overhyped. But so I think VS and Iran can snatch a point from the USA as well. But in the same time, the USA have a chance to even beat England. So it's a really close group.
England, arguably one of the group of death here, which I found bizarre, but it's not too far fetched. England should top it. I think we can agree. Should is the biggest word I could ever pronounce in this context. Second, it hates me to say it, I'm a Bristolian, so I can't have Wales doing very well, but with the likes of Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey, then surely they should come second, especially with most of their other players coming from good championship sides, and championship is the best second division in the world, so I can see them coming second in that group.
In any other year I would say that Iran would have the chance to go second, but with all these protests going at home, I think they will be just won't be able to concentrate properly, and that will be there.
It'd be interesting how that affects them. People said the same with Denmark, and yet that inspired them. The whole Christian Eriksen issue, which was so unfortunate. I'm glad he's okay, and I hope he has a good World Cup. We'll get on to him shortly, but the same thing is true there. Iran might use it as a level of inspiration for them, because the longer they're in the tournament, the more they can put a marker on that issue that's going on over there at the moment, which is a really sad one.
Or even conversely, the longer they're in the tournament, the less they have to go home and deal with it.
That is true. Yeah.
I think I have Iran going through second, mainly because they are going to be a nightmare to play against. They're not the most dangerous side in the world, but as we saw at the last World Cup, they have a tendency to be really well drilled. They've got a sort of solid defensive base. They've now got Carlos Queiroz as the manager, who's a very good defensive coach, despite what Roy Keane will say. So they will. I think they'll just make everybody's lives hell when you play them. I think England versus Iran will be possibly the most boring game at the tournament. I'm not looking forward to that, which is why I'm going to be incredibly drunk while watching it, because I don't want to put myself through that, really. So I think I'll have England, Iran, Wales, America. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say America might not get a single point in this tournament. I genuinely think they're that bad.
We'll see. What do you think?
I think that they will probably be second, but it's either second or fourth. So it will be a really close group.
Yeah. As I say, as an England fan, we're all England supporters. I'd say England should top it, but should again. All the other teams, a potluck, really. Given it's a home nation, and even though it pains me, Wales for me, they all can have these moments of magic, and then they can just sit back and kind of defend. It was almost like England under Beckham. Beckham will score a free kick, and then you couldn't break them down. So I see somewhat similar for Wales. They just have that, for me, that little star quality that, like Group C with Argentina, with Mr. Lionel Messi, that, it just takes one moment and then the rest of the team can just back behind it after that. So Wales for me in that group. And moving on to Group C with Argentina, who else is in that group?
Mexico, Poland and Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah. It has to be Messi, doesn't it? Come on. If any year it's going to be a World Cup win, it's going to be this year.
Yeah, I think this will be the most straightforward group. Argentina, 9 points.
Yes.
First place.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely.
Messi, I mean, you look at that Argentina team and it is just ridiculous. I mean, the attacking options they have alone are Lionel Messi, Julian Alvarez, Angel Di Maria, and they've got people coming off the bench, they've got Lo Celso's injured, obviously, but that midfield still with Alexis McAllister and, I'm actually blanking on the other members of that midfield. They've got
Martinez.
Yeah, they got Toro Martinez and stuff in defence, and they are just I think Argentina's only weakness, in my opinion, is Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper. I never really rated that highly.
I would disagree. I mean, the man in the Copa America.
I mean, this is
in
true,
the penalty shootouts, which Argentina will probably end up getting themselves involved, at least with one penalty shootout along the way. He is awesome when it comes to that, and also a bit of a knob. But I love that. If I had a good, just what you need in a bit of a goalkeeper to, give a little bit of chirp, and he is that.
Pains me to say that's what we have in Pickford, as much as I hate him.
And they are a side who are, I think, 35 games unbeaten, which is again, I go back to the South American qualifying group. It'd be like England playing Germany, Spain, Italy, Portugal all in one, and they are unbeaten. And then they played the Finissima. I probably said that wrong, but on the 1st of June this year against Italy, who beat England in the Euro final and made them look absolutely terrible. They ruined them, and that was a moment where I thought, wow, Argentina are not a side to be messed with in this World Cup, and you do not want to be playing them. And if you are going to be playing them, you better be ready, because otherwise you get beat.
I mean, getting a bit ahead of myself here, but sort of doing the predictions stuff and things. I had Argentina and Brazil facing each other in a semi-final, and I think that's pretty much the game that's going to decide the tournament.
I do.
Whenever those two come across each other, obviously we'll get on to Brazil a bit later. But yeah, Argentina are a ridiculous side. Great squad depth. Scaloni's good manager. Like you say, they're unbeaten in 35, going through the hardest qualification that you can get. I mean, people, this is sort of us as like European football fans look at like the European qualification for World Cups and stuff, and it's stat padding, right? Like the biggest teams go through basically every time. Like it's set up that way. But the CONMEBOL qualification it's one league, everybody's in it, and it's 8-9 teams. Everybody plays each other, and you have to win every single game, otherwise you'll be in serious trouble. And Argentina made it look like a cakewalk. So
absolutely. The rest of the group, I mean, Saudi Arabia, come on. I mean, I don't know any of their players. To me, I mean, my friend's got them in a sweepstake, which we set up. But he's hoping that they get absolutely destroyed in their group, which I wouldn't put past it. That would mean you get a little bit of money back. The way I've done it. But no, I just see Saudi Arabia being, they lost 5-0 to Russia in the opening game of the last World Cup. I see it being somewhat similar, especially when you add in the fact that Poland got Mr. Robert Lewandowski. You've got Mexico and their side, who's always particularly good when it comes to World Cups. At least they get to was it the last 16 and the last 3 or 4 World Cups in a row? Last 5.
5 in a row. Yeah.
So they could probably make it 6.
Probably. Well,
but
Poland
yeah. But that's for the question there, isn't it? Who's come second here?
Yeah.
I would say Mexico.
Okay, Mexico.
I would probably say Mexico as well, actually, because I think Poland are a good side, but they just don't turn up at international tournaments. No. They have a really good squad like Zielinski and Lewandowski, and their defense is really solid. I think Glick's still playing for them and stuff. Szczesny and goal, but like they just they turn up to national tournaments. And you look at the team being like, Poland could do some damage,
Right.
and they lose every game 1-0.
Yeah.
Like, so
I think they rely too heavily on Lewandowski, and if he's not
Yeah.
getting the common thing of football, isn't it? If you're not giving the service to the striker can't score.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, as you allude to, it's been Poland's downfall. But Mexico are they're a small side. Do you know what I mean? They're not physically big. But then again, the heat gets involved as well, doesn't it? Yeah, so you'd probably tell over to
it's a lot of Mexican players sort of used to playing it altitude and stuff, which will come in. I mean, Qatar's not a high place, but in the sort of dry, high heat. So we'll have to see. But I don't see whatever team does get out of that group second. I don't see them doing much damage to most teams that sort of you'll come across further on. They're probably just sort of round of 16 fodder for whoever they come across against, as opposed to Argentina, who are very serious. And you look at I sort of look at teams that like Poland, who turn up to these tournaments and never really sort of show what they're made of and things, and I sort of think it's a shame that teams like Hungary, Bálint, who are a fantastic team, and I think will turn up at the next Euros and the next World Cup and do damage to some really good teams. And it's a shame they didn't qualify for this, because I think there's a lot of the European teams in this tournament that you just kind of look at and you're like, there's really all that,
No, I mean, the problem with the way that European qualifiers have set themselves up is, as you say, it's top heavy. Top sides get what they want, and I'm actually quite glad that the Nations League this summer has produced Hungary doing well, has produced the likes of France doing badly. It means that when it comes to the qualifying for the next Euros, England are in a group with Italy. Again, their Euro final nemesis. But it shows how teams that are otherwise in Europe can do a lot better than necessarily what's on paper, and I think it does show that now football has developed on a European stage. But I think also, let's not forget, it has shown, and I think, like I said with Qatar, like we said with Senegal, even though if Sadio Mane is injured, that it has shown, I think, in a competitor in South America, that world football is progressing. And I don't think at some point, the archetypal question, will an African side get to a semi? It probably will happen at some point.
I mean, Luis Suarez is there this time, so we might have to wait long maybe the next World Cup. But
yeah, there is that. But the progression of world football as on large is getting more competitive at the moment. For sure. And sure, you're still going to have the big nations, or the ones on paper that you say are, going to be the ones going to be there come the end. But I think there's going to be more shocks along the way. And coming to shocks, and my surprise package, I think, is within Group D for me, is Christian Eriksen's Denmark, alongside France, Australia, and Tunisia.
Yeah, I'm in a really tricky place with Denmark. I messaged you about this, Laurence, as I've spent the past month or so amongst my group of friends essentially saying, I understand why everybody thinks they're really good. I don't really see it. And then I draw them in the sweepstakes. So, I'm kind of in a win-win situation, really. Either they do really well and I get quite a bit of money, or they do terribly and I get to say, I told you so. So it's like, it's because I look at and they are a very good side on paper, and they've got Christian Eriksen back really in almost the form. Like, obviously Manchester United are not great, but he's in pretty much some of the form of his life. He's been fantastic. And obviously they have the sort of the other players. I don't know who's going to be starting in goal for them. Is Kasper Schmeichel still starting in goal for them? And I think that's probably a bit of an issue, because he's been bad for a really kind of year and a half now. But again, international tournaments, club football doesn't always translate, especially with sort of players like this who have a tendency to turn up in big games. I was just looking, you look at, they won 9 out of their 10 qualifiers, but it kind of goes back to my point before, so I think European qualifiers are essentially stat padding. But they have lost fairly recently to Scotland. Scotland are not a good team.
However, they did beat France in the
Nations League.
Home and away.
Home and away, yes.
Yeah.
Which, France, well, the European World Cup curse, is it going to strike France?
Or Benzema's
injured, Nkunku is injured, there's problems within the camp of France. Didier Deschamps and his negative football. It showed with Nations League they came bottom, just not quite. Austria just picked out the end, but they had a very bad campaign like England, right in the Nations League. Pogba's injured. You start to question, but then, as I said, Denmark will probably do them. But who's the other side that's going to do them here?
Yeah.
But then we said that with Germany, didn't we? Germany were in a group with Mexico, South Korea, and I can't remember the other side. Sweden, yes, I remember. In the last World Cup, and we never thought South Korea was going to beat Germany until Neuer decided to go on a walkabout and get caught.
Yeah.
So it makes me question who's the second side. If we could see into the crystal ball here.
Tunisia are they're an alright team on paper. You look at the squad there. It's a lot of experience, but they're still playing like Wabi Kazri up front. Sort of 36-year-old Wabi Kazri who's actually tearing. I think it's Ligue 1 he's playing in at the minute. He's scored quite a lot of goals. Speaking of players in Ligue 1, I want to give a mention to the former Newcastle United flop Remy Cabella for France, who should have gone to the World Cup with all the injuries. I think he's got 10 goals and 5 assists in like 12 games or something for Lille. At 32, he's just come out of the Russian league because Lille have no money. That's what they use the Sven Botman money on to bring Cabella back, and he has been annihilating that league. Deschamps is a clown. I don't really rate Deschamps that highly.
No.
He will be gone, and Zidane will replace him within the next 2 months. So,
I would say that actually Benzema's injury is probably better for France, because I fear that Deschamps would start Benzema, but I think that Griezmann, Mbappe, Giroud front three is stronger than one with Benzema.
It is, but Switzerland beat them in the Euros, and
yes,
still.
Switzerland beat them in the Euros. They didn't look convincing Nations League. They won the last World Cup, but I think the only game you could say that they came out with flying colours with that last 16 game of the tournament against Argentina. Every other game, Belgium was turgid. They scored 1 goal and were defensive. The final, they got a dodgy penalty via the ghost in the room, the VAR.
Yes. Mandzukic scored an own goal.
Mandzukic scored an own goal. Sure, they had 2 great shots from the edge of the area from Pogba and Mbappe, but I just think with the talent they have, they're very much like a Belgium, but the talent they have, yet they've got a manager who's so defensive-minded, it makes you think they're going to do something. They might get through the group, but how much further are they going to get through in it? I say, if Denmark manage to top this group, then they're probably going to play Argentina next time around, which means probably you're going to get a revenge from the previous.
The Argentinians love that.
That will be a demolition if that happens. I think and Australia is like straight to the bottom. I think they are probably the weakest side of the tournament. So
if he plays, keep an eye on Garang Kuhl, who looks unbelievable. He's a 17-year-old, I think, and he got his first cap 2 months ago.
The new Newcastle signing?
That's how I know who he is. We picked him up for $300,000 a couple of months ago, and I've been sort of keeping an eye on him. I think in 400 league minutes this season, he's got 4 goals and 5 assists. I mean, granted, this is the A League, so pinch of salt, but he does look incredible. Central Coast Mariners, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a young striker, and he's just everything you want. Big, composed, great finisher.
As I say, you say Australia's a poor side. As I said, I advocate for football being great worldwide.
Yes.
And since the last World Cup, an Australian side have won the Asian version of the Champions League in the I think it was the Sydney Western Warriors or something. I can't remember. Probably the team name's wrong, but one of them definitely did, and it just shows that again. Their football side should not be so disregarded. I think we're saying they're bad, but the level of bad is no longer.
Yes.
It's no longer.
I base it off that at the
World
World Cup qualifiers they finished lower than Saudi Arabia in their group, and Saudi Arabia got stuck in the Asian Cup last year.
I mean, from the couple of Aussies that I've spoken to, they just hate Graham Arnold, the manager.
Yeah.
I've not really watched Australia play, so I can't say why, but apparently he is a shocker. So we'll have to sort of wait and see on that regard. But I think we all agree Denmark top, France second.
Yeah.
And then France gets sort of brutalised in the round of 16 by Argentina.
Yeah, I would say that Denmark has a chance to go straight through this until the semi-finals.
Yes.
Even.
That's why they're my surprise package, and we'll get onto the latter parts in a bit. Group E, Spain, Germany. Who's the other two? Japan and Costa Rica. Just drop those European sides, haven't it? Even though Germany looked incapable of beating England.
Germany look really bad. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it really, but they do look pretty shocking. I mean, you watch them when we played that last Nations League game, the 3-3 with England. They made England look like a ball dominant, competent attacking team, which they're just not. They were saved in that game by two shockers from Harry Maguire. You know, they're taking a 17-year-old who is very good, but he's a 17-year-old. You know, in Yusuf Moukoko. I think they're taking Nicholas Füllkrug, who has also been very good in the Bundesliga, but
Jamal Musiala.
Yes, they do have. I mean, the squad is talented. There's no doubt about that. But you know, there's questions around Flick as the national team manager and things. And I just can't look past Japan and this team. That Japanese squad is so much better than I thought it was. Essentially, I was looking at. I mean, the manager is, I think, the term is a bit of a footballing terrorist. He doesn't play the nicest football in the world, but they have a very good midfield. They've got Premier League players like Mitoma. They've got Kamada, who's doing brilliantly up front at Frankfurt. They've got Takefusa Kubo, who's finally sort of found his feet in La Liga. I don't really know that much about the defence, but they've got
they got Tomiyasu.
So you know, I think Japan could do a number on one of those sides, like they did at the last World Cup. You know, where they really should have beaten Belgium in that round of 16.
2-0 up, lost 4-3 in the end.
Nasser Chadli with the sort of last minute goal. So it's simply for the fact of I want this World Cup to be just mental.
Yes.
I want Japan. I think I'm going to say Spain top, Japan second, Germany out.
Germany out. I mean, I'd like to see that. But as I would like to see Argentina not do well, but that's coming from English fan supporter, isn't it, and historical things. However, Germany gonna be too much. I think Spain and Germany at the end. I mean, the thing that sticks out for me in those games is Spain is far better at controlling the ball.
Yes,
they absolutely destroyed Germany in the Nations League game, 5 goals to 0. Germany, when they played us, did not look like the side that won the World Cup. 2 World Cups ago, and their players are on their way out. But then again, Germany have a knack of, when it comes to major tournaments, doing not too bad. They do find a way of getting through to the end, but is it this tournament a bit too early for them, especially with the Euros coming in 24 in their home country? It certainly feels that this, you know, very much like also Mexico and America for their next World Cup, and we'll get on to Canada in the next group. But it almost feels like these nations who have tournaments that are coming up, where they're the host, it almost feels like if they're going to have a good tournament that time, they need to do badly here. And I know that the fans and their country don't want that to happen, but that just gives them more of an impetus to go, you did really bad, and now we need to put a lot of effort in for that tournament so that we then don't look terrible at home.
Das rebuilds sort of thing.
Absolutely. And I think Germany, you know, like America, like you said, with the poor thing that you've alluded to, and you know, Mexico in, you know, the other group. I think if they're going to have, you know, especially Mexico having a poor FA problems there. If these nations together have a poor World Cup, then it means probably that they will do a lot better when it comes to their next tournament. So, you know, if Japan come out of the group, good.
I think Germany will get second place. At least I hope that, because I'm a Germany fan. But Spain will win the group. But there might be surprises, because if you remember at the Euros, they had a really slow start, and there were questions whether they will make it out of the group.
This is true.
So this will be probably one of the funnest most fan groups.
I do.
I mean, I quite like Spain, but I do hope they do terribly because Luis Enrique is doing Twitch streams after every game, and I want to learn 5,000 new Spanish swear words when they get like dumped out in the round of 16. So we'll have to sort of wait and see. But I think Spain are a good side, but I don't think I really like the other teams in that group. They're building to next Euros, next World Cup with a lot of their younger talent sort of phasing out the older players. I mean, they're still starting Sergio Busquets, who's good, but is 35 years old.
His last World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, you allude to Busquets, there's loads of players in this World Cup who will be their last tournament.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and Busquets being one, Ramos didn't go, but, you know, Messi, Ronaldo, Lewandowski, you know, players we've grown up with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember being at the Euros in 2004. Those are the two tournaments I've been at, apart from the Euros in this country, where I've actually attended as a fan. And, you know, I didn't see Ronaldo in person, but I know the furore around him, and he was 17. And he's been around since then till now. And now I'm 26. I'm an old git now. And to have these players now not be, you know, the ones taking it on are the likes of Mbappe, but Haaland, he's not, even though Haaland's a great player, his nation is not backing him up. Maybe they will in the future, and hopefully he will get his time at a Euros or a World Cup, but it's not the same amount of players, and it feels like we're losing a huge excess of world-class players, and I'm just wondering who the next few are. So hopefully there might be some breakout stars in this World Cup,
hopefully,
that we can look forward to in the future. Group F: Belgium, Croatia, Canada,
and Morocco.
Yeah.
Everybody in this group stinks. I watched Belgium play Egypt yesterday, and they got played off the park. They were brutalised by a pretty poor Egyptian side. Belgium have like serious problems, like front to back. Yeah. Bobby Martinez, proven bad manager. You know, the squad is talented but old. You know, Lukaku isn't firing.
He's injured.
You know? He's injured. Eden Hazard is.
He's injured.
And that defence isn't what it was. That midfield, they've got Kevin De Bruyne, who's there. He's pretty good, but made a horrific error for one of the Egyptian goals actually yesterday. So
it'll be all on Kevin De Bruyne, won't it?
Yeah.
You know, he is still one of the best midfielders in the world, arguably the best, I think, currently. His distribution of the ball is second to none. His set piece play is world class, and his passing, some of his passes are just unreal. And as I said again, this could be another nation where, very like England in the past, where they struggle, but moments from Kevin De Bruyne could just get them out, especially given the teams they've got to face in this group. Talking about Canada, I'd love to see Alphonso Davies, especially with the whole his girlfriend no longer being his girlfriend. I would absolutely love for that man to prove that for him to have a great World Cup. I think if the one nation out of the ones that are hosting the next World Cup, I want Canada to do well.
Me too.
Maybe that's from a masculine point of view, but just to show that, you know, I think they do. I mean, Canada, they done really well. I think they qualified top of there.
Yeah, it did. John Herdman's
ahead of
USA
and Mexico.
John Herdman's also a very good manager.
So you know, and Croatia were aging a bit here.
Yeah, Croatia look a bit dodgy.
Belgium look a bit dodgy, and you know, if Canada, I feel like Canada could be like Costa Rica of the Brazil World Cup.
Morocco are a good side. Again, on paper, they've had a lot of managerial problems though. They've recently replaced their manager.
Yeah.
So, because there was a lot of discontent in the squad.
Harry got injured.
Yes.
Last minute.
Yeah, Harry's just gotten injured, and it's God, who have they taken his place? I'm blanking on the guy's name, but they're taking a player who is very good, but isn't as informed as Harry was coming into the tournament. You know, GX finally sort of back into the national squad setup, which is good for them, but again, like, will he turn up? I think this squad is like, not the squad, this group will be of a group of who's worse, to be honest, because we do like Canada, and Canada were very good in qualification, but they're still, I think, very clearly like a bottom third, you know, sort of seeded team of this tournament. So, you know.
But like I say, World Cups can produce surprise packages, and, you know, nothing would make me more happy to see a side do well. I think this is a side that would bring me some level of joy in a tournament that has got not a lot of good going for it at the moment. That would please me. But no, there's probably going to be, if we be honest, Belgium and Canada. Sorry, not Canada. Even though my love affair for them, Croatia to go through.
I mean, they had a really good Nations League campaign.
They did.
Finished ahead of Denmark and France. Beat both of them. So.
Yeah. I mean, they have come a bit further from their Euro placing last time around. And they, as you say, they were just unfortunate in the last Euros to not get knocked out by Spain. So they're still not a bad side. They still have, again, another world-class player not going to be with us after probably this tournament is Luka Modric, ex,
What a footballer.
And you said that it's an aging side, but for example, their defense is a really young and really good defense. So
and Guardiola and stuff. One of the top breakout players at the tournament, and Guardiola could really sort of stamp his sort of name down.
They did make the final of the last World Cup. So never count Croatia out. Even beat us when we thought we probably could have beat them. But Belgium and Croatia for that. Now, 2 groups left now. Brazil in the next one. Switzerland, Serbia and Cameroon.
Brazil are my favourites for the tournament, not just this group. I think Brazil will probably sleepwalk games against most teams in this tournament. They are ridiculously good.
When their team came out, there were many teams that came out with squads. But this squad is unbelievable. When the fact you've got 3 goalkeepers who could start in every nation, would be happy with any one of them. And then we're talking about goalkeepers. We're not talking about, that's usually Brazilians' fall down is their goalkeeper, and yet they've got 3 unbelievable goalkeepers. And then, how many forwards have they got?
Oh my God. They left Firmino at home.
And in fact, Firmino at home.
They left Firmino, they left Gabriel Barbosa, which the people in Brazil were really angry about.
What a player he was. He won the Copa Libertadores.
That Flamengo side as a whole has been, being the sort of annoying footballing hipster I am. I watched a lot of Brazilian football this season that's just finished. And wow, that Flamengo side, they didn't actually win the league in the end. It was Palmeiras who pretty much walked the league. But that Flamengo side were a joy to watch, with a sort of rotating front four of Everton Ribeiro, who's gone, of Gabriel Barbosa, who hasn't gone, of Pedro, who has gone, and Georgian Arrascaeta, who has gone for Uruguay. We'll get into Uruguay a bit later, who are also really good. And add on to this, like Richarlison, who is fantastic at national level. He's been an absolute goal machine for them. They have Neymar, who's now sort of found new life again as a number 10 and is looking, dare I say it, the best player in the world at the minute.
Vinicius
Junior, who's fantastic. It's like Rodrigo. Rodrigo's your backup.
And then you've got the centre midfield.
Oh my
Casemiro, who's just a unit. Fabinho, just another unit. It's like if you thought midfield, Brazil's usually got the flair. This time they've got a midfield that it's just gonna be brutal. The flair. Brazil is really renowned for their flair. They're gonna look like a side that a European side.
Well, you look at sort of the great Brazilian teams of the past, like Brazil in '94, right? They had all these fair players, but who was the guy that got them through some of those knockout games? It was Dunga. He was the kind of the most English defensive midfielder Brazil's ever put out.
You go back further. Carlos Alberto.
They've always had these.
When they've done well, they've had a player in that middle of the park who is just a big, annoying. Just really a brute.
That like a midfield 3 essentially of Neymar, Bruno Guimaraes, and Casemiro is. I don't think there's even.
You probably put Neymar further forward.
Well, Neymar's going to play as 10 now, so he's been playing as the. It'll be kind of a sort of staggered midfield of like Casemiro in the 6, Bruno in the 8, or Fred in the 8, because Tite prefers Fred for God knows what reason, and Neymar in the 10. And you just look at that team and you're like, this team could turn up against any other squad in this tournament and eat them for breakfast. Just totally annihilate them.
I mean, their defence as well is, probably the only weak link. This is a bit of a contentious one. Dani Alves, who's won how many trophies? And I'm calling him a weak link at 36 or something.
I mean,
I'm only saying it because he might be a bit old.
Yeah, he's God. There was a photo of him tackling. I think it was Pedro.
Yeah.
And Alves was not holding back. I mean, it was like 2-foot studs up on the ankles. Like the man looks ready. I mean, he hasn't played a game of football since the start of September.
No.
Yeah.
But he was taking coaching sessions at Barcelona.
Unbelievable. I mean, as I say, the squad is just stacked. I feel sorry for the other teams in the group.
Yeah.
But who's our second place team in this group?
For me, it's got to be Serbia, I think.
For me, Switzerland. But
Switzerland.
it will be close as well.
Yeah.
Serbia did really bad the qualifications. They beat Portugal. It's really interesting because like 4 years ago we had almost the same group with Brazil as Switzerland. Serbia. The fourth team was Costa Rica at the time.
Yes.
If I remember. So yeah, it will be interesting. Serbia take revenge after a 2-1 4 years ago.
I think that's the opening game as well, isn't that a group? I think Brazil,
think so.
Serbia, and you look at that Serbia team, and that like their attacking again, like their attacking options. The defense is kind of so, but their attacking options is like if being able to play a front four of Dusan Tadic, Alexander Mitrovic, Vlahovic, and the Kostic. That's goals, man. That is so many goals.
Yeah.
Whether they be able to break down more defensive sides like Switzerland, we will see. But yeah, Sergej Milinkovic Savic in the centre of the midfield. That is a team that is.
You've just got a brute of a man in Mitrovic. Who, how many goals did he score? He got the championship goal scoring record, about 40 goals in a season.
I think he'd broken it by February, right?
Yeah.
It was like.
I mean, he scored 4 goals against my side and made my side defence look like children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was an impressive performance, not one that I wanted to watch again. But from a neutral point of view, you could clearly understand it. And then he's taken that form. A man who people would say, he hasn't done very well in the Premier League this season. First game of the season, bang, Liverpool.
Annihilated Van Dijk. Made Van Dijk look like a league average defender. That game was incredible.
And if he takes anything away into this World Cup, where as you rightly say, Switzerland do have good players, but if they got 4 attacking players like we said, with Mitrovic being the bully,
Luka Jovic on the bench as well. They've got
Let's not forget
so
that.
many goals in that squad.
Cameroon, anybody go for Cameroon?
They do have the most informed striker in the world.
They do.
In Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, who was sort of inexplicably replaced Robert Lewandowski as Bayern starting number 9 and is scoring for fun.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they also came third in the African Cup of Nations, so they might get some points against Switzerland.
And they're also a sort of side that can take points off Switzerland and Serbia. Because they're built, these 3 sides are probably built in the same sort of way. But no, I think, as we were saying, Serbia's top front players are probably too much for the other ones.
Yeah.
So you probably see them going through in second and Brazil top. The last group, Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea and Ghana. Where do we start with Portugal, Mr. Ronaldo, in his explosive interview? How much is that going to affect their team?
Well, Bruno Fernandes doesn't seem too happy about it if you're sort of going to read the rags about it. But I watched that Portugal side, and first of all, I think they deserve to be eliminated immediately for how hideous that kit is. So bad.
Agreed.
They are. That kit is genuinely one of the worst World Cup kits I've ever seen. But it sort of sans Ronaldo. Even if they go and drop Ronaldo, they have so much talent. That's what it's very difficult to overlook.
Cancelo in defence, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
João
Felix.
But they won't drop Ronaldo, and that's really their issue.
That is their problem. That is going to be their problem. Yeah, they're going to play Ronaldo, and whether he'll turn up or not is.
I think he will. I think he's a man. He's a man for the moment, and I think if one thing is, to me, what. And I don't want it to happen because that will just give this tournament credibility. But Argentina and Portugal at the end, with Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah,
being the two on my birthday would be something, would give this tournament some level of credibility. But you can see it. You can
end
see
of
it.
the era as well.
You can see it happen, can't you?
You can, yeah.
And it will be like that person's then the best in the world because both have won.
Yeah.
Their own respective regional tournament, Euros and Copa America.
Yeah.
Both have won stupid amounts of awards, goal scoring records. Messi obviously won more Ballon d'Ors, but if one of them were to win the World Cup as well, then then you could argue, well, that's the best player that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think Ronaldo, given his recent problems, he's going to use that to fire him up.
Yeah.
He's going to use that as a motivation. The man, whenever you look at his interviews, whenever he plays to be motivated to win.
Yeah.
And this will be a big kind of, two fingers up to Man United if he was able to put it off, and then it would make his market value go up through the roof because everybody's like, well, at 37, the man's still got it.
A motivated Ronaldo at a tournament is a problem.
He was the top goal scorer at the Euros only last year, so
yes.
I don't think age is an issue with this man.
No, I think I think the biggest problem will be Fernandes, the Portuguese manager, is not particularly rated by most Portuguese fans.
No.
He's made some suspect squad choices, dropping Renato Sanchez, who's been very good for Paris Saint-Germain. His team selection when they do play is a bit weird. They kind of tend to play like a sort of diamond in midfield with Ronaldo and Felix up top. They're a decent side, but I think Uruguay are going to top the group because Uruguay have an amazing squad.
Yeah.
Fede Valverde, he's also one of the most informed players now.
Fede Valverde, one of my favourite players in the world to watch. He can do it all. They obviously got Suarez and Cavani, and they've got Aracaseta, they've got
Darwin Núñez as well.
Yeah, they got Darwin Núñez.
Okay.
There were so many teams at this tournament with like ridiculous attacking options. I think last World Cup you were looking at a lot of teams going, that defence is really good, that midfield's really good.
Yeah.
But I think this time we're going, wow, there's going to be goals. And then, hopefully.
The other two in this group are Ghana and
South Korea.
I don't see them being too
good.
I could see Ghana causing some problem. I think Ghana have a really good squad. Ghana
and Semenyo, my own team.
Shout
out to him. He did score in a friendly in the week, so hope he does all right. As long as he doesn't get injured. But then again, we could sell him for big money if he does all right, so that'll do good for us.
Yeah. I think Ghana and any other group could do some pretty serious damage, but Uruguay and Portugal are too much for them. Like sort of with Spain and Japan, Germany
two to go through. So other questions really. England, how far are we going?
I think if we top a group, that side of the draw's pretty easy, pretty weak.
Yeah.
On paper, like we had in 2018. So I think we could go pretty deep on virtue of not playing anybody that good
yet again.
Yeah.
From what we've said, we topped the group. From what we said, the second place team was either going to be Senegal or Ecuador.
Yeah.
Both sides of which we probably feel that we could just scrape through there.
Yes.
The quarter-final then, if we did top that group, would be against a Denmark, who would be a very repeat of the semi-final of the Euros. Do we have enough to beat Denmark on this time? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
think some
the
people.
Quarterfinals will be the end for England.
Some people say no. Some people would argue, we did it then. Why can't we do it again? But then, who are we going to get in the semi? If you did get that far, I think
it'd be Serbia or Uruguay in the semi.
No, that's a bit. You genuinely think that, or is
I genuinely think, if you look at that left. So what I've got in my head, all the predictions I've done. So we've got Uruguay. Let's say we've got Uruguay topping that group and Serbia coming second in their group. That's going to be the round of 16 game. Uruguay and Serbia, and then they play.
Belgium in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and I think whoever wins that game is going to be the one that goes through to the semi-final, probably the final actually, and play Denmark or England.
Yeah.
I think Serbia and Uruguay beat England at the minute. So
yeah, it's a very left field choice. Not many people have said that. It'd be interesting to see. Be nice to see a team that like that.
Like, most of my predictions had a final of Brazil and Serbia, which would be an insane.
That would be insane.
My prediction is Brazil versus Belgium.
Belgium. Belgium, despite what we said, in the raging team.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like the easier line.
I think that is the thing. Like on the other side of the group, on the other side of the tournament, it's going to be like Brazil and Argentina in the semis. We'll have like Spain and
Netherlands.
Yeah,
I think
in the quarterfinals.
Brazil, Argentina, Spain, and Netherlands are the 4 best teams of the tournament, and they are the same branch. So
people on paper, a lot of them have still said the Argentina-Portugal final would be the one that everybody wants, but from what we've said here, that doesn't seem to be the case. But like I say, walking in here, my glass, if it was really, really optimistic, semi-final at most for England. Quarter-final would probably be fair. Last 16 would be disappointing, but probably justifiable given where they've been and the conditions of the tournament. They drop out of the group stage. Southgate needs to go there and then.
Yes.
Maybe even if he got knocked out in the last 16, it's like a Senegal, to be honest. But time will tell. Winners? Brazil. So we're not going for a Messi or Ronaldo.
No.
Despite what all the media wants to say.
I think, like we were just saying, that Brazil team is ridiculous, and it's Tite's last tournament that he's sort of going after this.
But Brazil versus Argentina in the semi-finals will be the game of the tournament.
I think that's going to be not only the game of the tournament, but the game that decides the tournament. So, the Dutch are good outsiders. I think they've got a really serious squad. Louis van Gaal is mental, but it usually works.
I mean, his crazy decision to put what's his name? Newcastle
Tim
goalkeeper Tim Krul in the penalty shootout against Costa Rica.
The plan was to do that again this tournament, but Tim Krul refused to do the extra penalty training and he got dropped. So Louis van Gaal has taken 4 Eredivisie goalkeepers, I think.
Which is their weak point in their side, I think. Golden Ball winner? Golden Ball?
Messi.
Probably. Yeah, probably Messi.
Messi or
Neymar. Best player in the tournament again, Messi.
Yeah, probably.
And dark horses?
Serbia.
I would say Denmark,
yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
I think that's all pretty much covered.
Pretty much covered, isn't it? Well, thank you for listening to our podcast today. We'll be back soon with another one, and enjoy the rest of the World Cup, and come on England.
We'll be crying next time when we've lost to Iran.